Engaging celebrity interviews. Exciting updates from Christian filmmakers. Movie reviews so you can choose your movies wisely. And so much more here on Faith on Film with Isaac Hernandez and Holly McClure.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of Faith on Film. I'm Isaac Hernandez. I'm here with my co-host, Holly McClure. How you doing, Holly?
Doing great, and it is Faith on Film today. We're talking about faith, aren't we?
Yes, we are.
On film and off film, we're talking about. Yes.
That's true. Now, today we're going to deal a little bit with, let's say, Easter, even though technically we just passed Easter, but we've got some great stuff that not only would apply to the Easter season, but technically really applies to us in our lives year-round, actually. And that was something that you did over at Capernaum.
It really does. I mean, today we're going to talk about the Crimson Experience, which was at Capernaum, the movie King of Kings, which was out and just broke records in the box office.
Yes, it did.
But again, like you said, this is really themes that are our faith year-round, all the time, our life. And I think it's great. We're going to talk about the impact not only on adults, but on children. And, you know, this is something that should be ongoing, I feel, throughout the year, don't you? It's not just like at Easter we talk about it. So it's
absolutely. And, you know, the sad thing, though, is that during, of course, Easter and Christmas is when everybody goes to church and then they stop going the rest of the year. But this kind of applies in the same way. This is a story for the whole year round.
Exactly. Like nobody talks about it outside of those times. But we're going to, because, again, a lot of times people watch our show, you know, a month later, 2 months later. Yeah. And, again, this is something I think it's going to encourage and excite a lot of people.
Well, tell us all about what is the Crimson Experience?
Okay, first of all, folks, for those of you who don't know that may be tuning in, I am also the marketing PR director at Capernaum Studios. Now, Capernaum Studios is located about 30 minutes west of Fort Worth, above Weatherford, Texas. And literally, it's a studio of 40 acres. Tammy Lane is the founder and CEO, and she built Capernaum Studios in the mid-2000s. And when she built the studio, she had the village that she built, and has since then expanded to several sound stages. And for those of you who don't know, you maybe watched The Chosen, and if you've seen The Chosen, season 1, 2, and part of 3, you've seen the village in Capernaum Studios, because they used, Dallas Jenkins came and said, well, this is a great studio, and that's where they did season 1. So we have a lot of people who come on tours to just see the village where The Chosen was filmed. So what Tammy has done is, every year during the Easter season right before, she wrote and directed and now has several directors working with her. It's a big production called The Crimson Experience. And this is what's called a live immersive experience. So you go in with a group of 12 to 15 people. They book times, you know, that you come in and check in. You go with this group of people down, you watch a short film on Christ going before Pilate and Pontius Pilate and, you know, being condemned for what he's done. And that's a 20-minute film. You walk out of there, you go into the village, and then you're immersed in Roman soldiers going, get against the wall, and who are these people? And you're walking through this village as Jesus is coming with a cross. He's, you know, the cross on his back. He's coming through the village with a cross. Now, we had 2 actors who took turns because we got mean Roman guards. I mean, they're beating him, they're kicking him. He's got, we have a wonderful Brandy Knight, our FX makeup person, who has the makeup that looks like there's blood on Jesus and on his back. And of course, they do fake scars and all that. So it's pretty realistic looking. And then they have him being beaten, and they say, who is this King of Kings? And they put a crown of thorns on his head. And I mean, the whole thing, you're walking through this village as they're doing this with villagers. So we have actors that play the Roman guards. We have actors that play Jesus. We have actors that play the villagers. So, and they're dressed, of course, biblical times. So you're immersed in this experience. You go through that, go out of the village, you go into a soundstage A, which is normally our green screen, 1,400 square foot green screen soundstage. Well, you go in there, and it's the temple, and it's all dark, and we have it all with black cloth. And you walk in, and we built a faux floor that you walk in and stand on, and a big curtain's there. Of course, the curtain, the veil that tears, right? And they, have smoke and have music and different things coming. Well, there's an earthquake that happens on the floor. So it surprises people because they're like, oh, there's an earthquake. And then the curtain, the veil tears, You go out of there, out of that soundstage, you go into a tomb that we built in stage B, our 8,000 square foot soundstage. And they built an amazing tomb this year. We have a 6'10" angel, Ray Hurd, and everyone loves him. When he has mechanical wings, when he opens up his wings, it's a 17-foot spread. So he comes, the lightning flash that goes dark, he comes out. And the reason I'm describing this, so when you hear people describe it, you'll know what they're talking about. This is what people are going to be describing. So that's why I'm telling you the detail. And when he comes out, he opens up his wings at 17 feet, and he says, fear not, he is risen, he is not here. They have actors that come in, Mary and the women that come in and say, where is he? And then you go out of there, and then they walk along a path where there's a resurrected Jesus. Now, it's a third actor that we have that plays Jesus, of course, resurrected, a different kind of look to him. And he walks out, and you don't know it's Jesus. He just comes when you're walking and talking with these two men who are saying, hey, come to our house and see what happened. And they go to the road to Emmaus, and there's where the Jesus joins the group. They go in, they watch him talk about the Passover. And of course, it's what happened when Jesus appeared. And I think it's Zechariah. And he appeared to the two men, and they're discussing the meal. And they're discussing what the Passover is. And he's trying to explain to them. And then they finally get, oh, you mean Jesus is the Passover? And then it goes dark, and it comes, and he's disappeared, just like what happened in the Bible. So out of there, they go to a prayer room, and it's just, and literally they had salvations, Isaac. They had people recommit their lives to Christ. They had people who had never committed, and over 100 and something people, salvations. And it's just an experience. We even have coffee vendors. I love these people, Nellie and Roger. They are from Colombia. And they're so wonderful. She goes, I recommitted my life to Christ. We committed. There are vendors there. But they went through it and recommitted their life to Christ. And they're just, so people all over, people that work for us, actors. We had over probably at least 80 to 100 cast members. Wow. It's just one of those experiences that once you go through it, you don't forget it. And we had literally people say, this was the best ever, better than last year, better than the years before. It's just amazing.
Wow. You know what I find important about this, Holly, is, when I grew up in church when I was a kid, a long time ago, they used to have passion plays in church.
In the 19th century.
Yes. Yeah, as I rode my little horse cart to church. No.
Well, 20th century, but
they used to have passion plays. That was what you did at Easter time, is you would basically recreate the whole story. I don't think there's too many churches that do that anymore. They just have a service where maybe they'll sing an Easter song or they'll have specials, but they never really recreate the story. And I kind of miss that. I was telling my wife this past Easter, I miss going to church and just seeing the whole Easter story being recreated. So this is a good place they can go to not only watch it, but be immersed in it. That is wonderful.
We had people from Houston. We had a couple fly in from Arizona.
Oh my gosh.
They flew in to come see it. We had people from California. It wasn't just Dallas-Fort Worth area. Mm-hmm. People came from all over. And I was surprised even. I'm like, really? You flew in from Arizona and stayed in a hotel just to go. But it's really that, where people saw it and came from all over, Houston, everywhere, to see Oklahoma. So anyway, really fun.
Well, we've got some comments from some of the people that were there, don't we?
Well, let me explain, because when I was up in our ticket office, and it's also our store, so when they come up, they have to come back through. So I was able to see all these people's faces. Isaac, we had a man go, okay, I never cry, but I cried the whole time. He was like, I never cry, but I cried the whole time. And then we had kids. And so I just said, can I get some of your comments? So these are comments that I got literally as they just came from the production. And I loved it because it's from the heart. And I think we got some great comments.
Let's take a look at them.
Wow, what a production. Not just a production, but definitely a way to share Christ.
Last year was amazing, but boy, they really stepped it up. And I'm telling you, you will be so blessed because of the fact that you get to walk through what Christ did. He sacrificed the ultimate sacrifice for us, and you get to experience.
It was so realistic, and I felt like I was really in the God's world. That one was difficult to go through, but it was really realistic, and it looks just like what the Bible says about it. Just eye-opening to see what he went through for me and everybody I know and everybody on this earth.
The gentleman played the Romans had their purse down to the hilt. They really challenged their sensibilities with that as yes.
The angel was incredible.
Yeah. Unexpected.
Very unexpected. And the wings, the opening and closing, and the fireworks.
And the wings just kind of went out like this, and I was like, whoa, my word.
Wings, and he was tall and he was buff.
Oh my gosh, he was huge.
Mary Magdalene and the other two went to the tomb and it was empty, and they saw the angel. I'm sure it was as magnificent, if not more, than that.
So what about the actors that were on the road or that like you met along the way? Did that
It was great. It made it feel like a really immersive experience, like you were just one of the townspeople. And they also poked fun at our clothing, which made it feel real as if we were visiting their town.
The thing I liked about the Crimson experience is when Jesus went back to heaven.
My favorite part was the Passover experience. And the Passover experience was such a great explanation of why the Passover is important. The actors worked really well together. They played off of each other. You felt the excitement and the confusion and the anxiety. But when he spoke to us, observing, he looked directly at us. He looked pierced through us in such a way that made it so tangible and personal.
Like he would look out to us and explain it, and then he'd look back like he was back. And then it was kind of funny how it took them a second to catch on until he was gone, and then they caught on.
I liked how immersive it was. I know they talk about it as an immersion, but wasn't fully expecting it. So,
Yeah,
really cool.
Yeah, it wasn't just the people that were, the main characters. It was also all the townspeople and everything, which was really, really cool.
This experience was just awesome. It was great to see the actors performing so alive. We felt that we were right there.
Actors were very good, and it also taught me a lot of stuff I didn't know.
I was so emotional. I was just falling.
And together we went and did the full experience, and we already committed again for second time our lives to Jesus.
It was totally emotional. It was so fantastic. The acting is spectacular, professional.
The experience that you live in this place is, you have to come and see it, because pictures don't do no justice.
Everybody here loves the Lord. You can see it in their faces. The joy of the Lord is their strength. They're doing something that is one of the most powerful witnesses on the planet. So we encourage everybody to come see the Crimson Experience.
And you really need to come see this. It'll change your life.
Other kids should come too, but make sure that you know that it's a little bit scary.
That was wonderful. But you know what? I know people, it's over, so they can't go right now, but it's going to be again next year, isn't it?
Every year. And we even added another date. So it's the Friday and Saturday before Easter, and now it's the weekend before, and we may have to add another one next year. There's about 450 people that can go in one day. So we had about 1,500 people that went through to this. And, like I said, lives are saved and changed. Yeah. And Tammy doesn't care. It's costly for her, but her heart is for ministry, and that's what I also love about it. It's definitely life-changing. But you know what, Isaac, what was going on, which interested me at the same time as our production was going on in the theaters, The King of Kings.
Yes.
It's an animated story for families, and it was breaking box office records. It had an A+ cinema score, and 97% where people were like they loved it, which is hard to get for an animated and a Christian film in the theaters. And then director Song Hyun-jung, I think his name is Korean director, probably butchering it, but he was a Korean director who did this film and it was animated. Okay, I've got to read off the list. Kenneth Branagh, Charles Dixon, Uma Thurman as Catherine Dixon, Pierce Brosnan as Pontius, Mark Hamill as King Herod, Griffin Davis as Walter Dickens, Forrest Whitaker as Peter, Ben Kingsley as the High Priest. Oscar Isaac as Jesus. Really? This was an all-star cast.
Yeah.
It was in this animated film. So I was kind of excited about what it's doing at the box office and continuing to do.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, let's take a look at the trailer, and then we'll come back and talk about it a little bit, because I do have some of my opinions on it.
Ladies and gentlemen, excuse me for just a moment.
King Arthur!
Get down from there!
1, 2, 3!
You are not King Arthur!
Charles, you're going to tell him a great story about forgiveness.
Can we do this without the cat?
Stop right there.
Our story begins 2,000 years ago when baby Jesus came into the world.
Wait, stop. If it's not about a king, then I'm not interested.
This story is about the King of Kings.
If you're with me, then I know that I will fly.
It has angels and wicked kings and miracles. Oh, so you want to hear the story now? Why don't we help Jesus along the way?
There's not nearly enough food here to feed all of these people.
I hope this helps.
Look! There's something out there!
Don't be afraid.
This was a miracle to some, but a threat to others.
Why don't we just turn the people against him?
Open up my eyes and see. And I'm not only wishing, dreaming.
Take him!
Can't you help it?
Yes, but not the way you think.
Don't you, Desi?
It's time. This is what my father wants. I'll accept it, and so should you.
You see, a true king serves his subjects.
If you have faith, you'll become stronger than before.
It is a great story.
Oh yeah, that was a great movie. I did see the entire movie, by the way. And the trailer almost doesn't do it justice. I mean, the movie for me was fantastic.
It doesn't do it justice, I don't think. And that's why I was so surprised that so many people went. But I think, Isaac, doesn't it show that there's a hunger in this country for, a message and a faith message? More and more people are, returning to their faith and returning to church. And so I think it's exciting to see, as much as we think it's in decline, there are actually statistics showing that it's actually coming back up. And I think this has to do, sorry, but it does, with our leadership in our country and making Christianity an important part or spiritual important part of our country. I think that has to do with that as well. So it was interesting to me to see this film. I want to preface it. I watched the screening, so I didn't see it in a theater, which I think makes a difference because I watched it with like 5 and a 6-year-old bouncing around in one part of the room, and then a 7 and 9-year-old where my granddaughter was paying attention. They had she little friend over. So we watched it. But I was glad because I wanted to see the kids' reactions, and they just loved it. And adults did too. Now, what did you think? I mean, in your opinion, who went with you?
There was, I mean, I thought, okay, I'm going to watch a cartoon. And first of all, I don't even want to call it a cartoon. I want to call it animation, like you said, because when you think of cartoon, you think of, the old Mickey Mouse and all those cartoons. This is not what it is. Several things I really liked about it. I liked that, how they brought in so many of the stories that revolve around that time period, around that whole season of Jesus. They didn't bring them all in because I realized, okay, they're missing, for instance, the when Jesus turned the water into wine, which might have been a little bit difficult to explain to a kid. Oh, wait a minute, we can have wine.
I'm pretty sure they left that out because to a 5-year-old, okay.
Oh, can we have some wine too? And then, the man waiting at the pool of Bethesda, that wasn't in there. And there was a couple others. But if you put everything in, it should have needed to have been a series because there's just too much, But I like that they put all those stories. I really enjoyed the fact that they brought in the father and the kid, and you'll have to see the story to know what I'm talking about, by the way, folks. They brought them into the scenes. They're in their time period, which I was going to say present, but it's really in the early 1900s or
Charles
late
Dickens.
1800s.
It was based off kind of the Charles Dickens
right.
stories.
So from there, but they transported them periodically into the actual Bible story. I thought that was great, and I really liked that sometimes. Remember, they were brought in, but they weren't there. They were just kind of.
Right. He's telling the story.
How am I going to explain? Yeah, they're in the scene, but they're not part of the scene in essence. However,
like what I just said about Crimson, it was an immersive.
Exactly.
Story,
However, it was really cool that a few times it's almost like they were seen, because there was that one when Jesus is a teenager, I guess, was walking by and he looked at the kid like, I can see you, but you're not really part of this. So he kept going.
Right.
But that was so cool to have him see him. So anyway, that's the other thing I really liked about it. And then just overall, I just thought it was a great way for kids to learn the story of Jesus. And again, churches don't do much of that anymore. They don't, and they might tell the story, but it's just so much different as when you see it enacted. And so I really appreciated that. Loved the movie. And again, being in animation, I really enjoyed. I didn't see it with kids, by the way. It was just me and my wife. So we were able to concentrate and track on the entire movie.
But you know what? They had to do it animation, I think, for kids to appreciate.
Well, sure.
Chosen's been done for adults, and although I'm sure children are watching it, some are. But the adults are, that's our medium. Yeah. But to put it in animated form where kids will watch that, and they did, and to pull them into it, especially with a little boy that was so interested and so caring and so concerned about Jesus, which is what children relate to. Oh, I'm concerned about Jesus. And of course, like you said, when Jesus sees him, because Jesus does see us,
That was a moment for me.
So that was, and it was beautifully done. I guess, like I said, and I liked it. I did. And there's parts that I loved about it, but it is such a wonderful film.
Yeah.
Really year round. That's what I'm saying about. This is what this show is about.
Yeah.
This isn't just for Easter, folks. These are films that when they start streaming, watch it in your home, watch it with your kids, watch it with your grandkids. This is a year-round thing. It shouldn't just be Easter. So that, you tells the story. Because like you said, it told the story of the birth of Jesus. So really, could be Christmas too.
That's right.
Jesus. It was a whole story that they told. So, I admire him for doing this, and I'm so glad. I always figure, we always have like a little shining star when a film does well. And in a marketplace where they're usually condemned, where no one's usually paying attention, or Christian films don't even get recognized. So I'm lucky that we're seeing more. And what a wonderful thing, instead of taking your kid to Snow White or Wicked, or, instead of that, what a wonderful choice that they had. Minecraft was the biggest movie that was out. And again, for what they are, but I love it that we had a film that, adults and kids could enjoy together. And it had a message that's an important message. So the King of Kings, they're very proud of what they did, and continue, folks. It's in theaters right now and still in theaters because it's going strong. But I'm sure that it'll be on streaming platforms soon. And we look forward to talking when it is. We'll tell you when it is so you can see it.
Now, you said you watched it with your grandkids, and you were able to get a few comments from your granddaughter. She is so cute. You got a few comments from your granddaughter, didn't you?
From Selah Grace. Her name was Selah Grace, and her parents named her that. Praise, Selah, in the song, Selah. Think about it and meditate. And I'm telling you, she loves Jesus. She's a kid who will take her Bible out to the park across her street, and because she wants to go minister to the kids, the neighborhood kids. One time she even had a pizza Bible party at the park for all the neighborhood kids to come, and she could share scripture with them. They go to Christian school. She memorizes scripture. So this is a kid who loves Jesus, but she watched it and was immersed in it. And so I got a few of her comments.
Well, let's hear what she had to say.
Okay, I'm with my granddaughter, Selah, and she is 7 years old. And Selah, tell me what you thought about the movie King of Kings.
It was really good, and my favorite part was when Jesus was risen. It was so cool, and also I liked when where there was a bunch of people and they shared bread, and like 2 loaves of fish and 5 loaves of bread. It was so fun, and it was cool.
Did you like the way they told that story?
Yeah. First, he did not know Jesus, but when his dad told him about it, it was real. He knew Jesus and told it to his friends.
Do you think this is a story that kids will enjoy? Like how old? 7 or 8 and up? Older? What do you think?
All the ages. It would be fun.
You think all the ages will enjoy this story about Jesus?
Yeah.
And did you learn a lot about Jesus when you watched the movie?
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah. And also my favorite part is where there was villains having rocks and trying to get the lady that was sick. But Jesus said, the first person throw a rock. And they dropped it. And the lady was saved. And the Lord was making her feel better. And then she was crying, like happy tears. And that was my favorite part, too.
Because he said, if you're without sin, cast the first stone, right? And nobody could cast the first stone, could they? So see, you did learn some Bible stories in there. That was good. That's a good movie. So this is The King of Kings is a really good movie, and you think all ages should watch it.
Yeah.
She is so cute.
Thank you. Did you like when I said, and what age would you suggest this for?
Every age.
I like you guys say that.
And that's true. That's true, because it was great for me too. And I am way at the other end of that age group.
That spectrum. Oh, it was fun. And it's fun to involve your kids and grandkids. And see, grandparents, let your grandkids see things like this, because that generation is that generation we're hoping for to take it. And God wants those little children to come into him too. So it's perfect. It's a perfect movie for that. It really is.
Yes, it is. And it's great to see faith-based movies get so good, because let's face it, before they were kind of a little weak. I still love watching Christian movies, and I just love the messages, but they're getting to the point where they rival any Hollywood movie. I mean,
they're stepping up, aren't they?
I'm thinking of this one. I'm thinking of the one that just came out that did really well. Is also, it's not an animation. Oh my goodness, what's there's the series, of course, The House of David. I'm thinking of House of David. Wow, that thing rivals any Hollywood series.
Amazon, reaching the world.
Yep,
you know what I mean?
absolutely.
Watch it anywhere, and that's we say a lot about streaming, but that's the positive thing about streaming is it can reach worldwide.
Yes.
You never would reach. So it's encouraging, folks. Be encouraged. God is alive. Jesus is alive. The message is alive, and we are having people come to the Lord every day, as you've seen on our show.
And that's what it's all about. Well, Holly, here's the end of another show, and really enjoyed our conversation about these two projects, the Crimson Experience and the movie King of Kings.
King of Kings. And I'm excited because we're going to be going to a conference, a film festival that will be in Orlando, and then I'm going to be visiting the set of I Can Only Imagine.
Yes.
So I get to talk about our set visit. Isaac, Faith on Film will be at I Can Only Imagine too. So we'll be getting feedback from that in the next couple of weeks, and we'll see that as well.
Awesome. All right, folks, that's the end of today's show. We'll see you next week. Holly, see you next week.
God bless.
Write to us at faithonfilmtv@gmail.com. That's faithonfilmtv@gmail.com. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Faith on Film TV. Also, go to our YouTube channel, Faith on Film TV, and hit the subscribe button and the bell for notifications on our latest Faith on Film shows.